Hi, it's Carolyn Pars-Rizzo, Certified Child Life Specialist and Life Coach with Interval Coaching here in Bolzano, Italy. And I wanted to share with you a few tips that I've picked up over the years working with kids in healthcare that I think you will find valuable now that it seems many countries are adopting a rule that we must wear masks during the COVID-19 pandemic when we leave the home. So whether we're outside, I know here in the Bolzano area, we now are supposed to wear a mask if we are exercising outside. So this is a change, and for adults it's a change, but for children it's a really big change. So I wanted to briefly talk about children's understanding of the virus and a couple things that you can do to make it a more child-friendly experience in terms of leaving with a mask on or just seeing people with masks on all over the place, even on TV. So let's start with the younger children, 0 to 2. Many people just think, oh, they don't know anything. They don't understand the virus. No, they don't. But they are actually the most disturbed group when it comes to covered faces. So I wanted to let you know that children 2 and under really benefit from some time with the mask before either they're required to wear one. I don't know if that's going to come down the pike or not, or whether it's going to be out and about if you have to go grocery shopping and you're in a situation where you have to take your children with you, where they're going to see everybody in masks. So if you've got toddlers, please take some time to play with the mask first before you go out or before you are wearing one in front of them. And maybe, some children really just go with the flow. We know that. But I always say it's better to be safe than sorry when it comes to, children and the way they react, the way they can react to things that we take for granted, just like wearing a mask, or covering up part of our face. So what I became a complete expert in is peekaboo. Let me teach you how to play peekaboo. No, I'm just kidding. So really letting them explore the mask first, playing peekaboo with it. This is like even for 8-month olds and up. Okay, so letting them start to really explore that. It's super fascinating to them. And then starting with yourself, and then on them, I'll go, peekaboo. So not touching them with it, but just playing. And usually they're going to reach for this and they're going to be really interested. And we just keep it fun and light. And we do this before it's time. So we would do this the day before. We might even do it if we know that it's coming up and we're going to have to take our kids out. We start this, as soon as you know. As soon as you know, just start playing about it. If you've got preschoolers, toddlers, they love to play with masks, play with dress up stuff anyway. You can play doctor. They're really open to it, usually playing doctor. And so even if you're going to go out with them with a mask, you can always say, okay, now it's time for you to put on your doctor mask. With the younger kids, I call them germ catchers. Little kids from somewhere between 2 and 6, they understand that people catch illness from other people. They also think, though, that they can catch things that don't pass, like cancer and things like that. So they get that very mixed up. But they do understand that there's a contagion, that something, and they might think it's magic. They might think it comes from the cold. They might, they're not putting it together in a logical way. So you don't need to be logical with them, but they do need to know what their jobs are and what they need to do. Their job is to wear the mask and to wash their hands, or their job is to keep their hands in their pockets when we're at the store and keep your mask on. So very simple. What are their jobs? Think it out ahead of time and be really clear with them. And then give them lots of praise when they're doing it. And give them time to really play with the masks ahead of time. At least the day before. But even the more time with the stuff, the better with the materials. So little ones, toddlers and infants, we're going to play about it, and eventually we are going to play with putting it on them and putting it first on us, then on them. But I would start on their bear or whatever their favorite stuffed animal is, playing peekaboo with them, letting them play peekaboo, eventually letting them put the mask on their toy. So you model it first, then you kind of help them to do it on something else so they have the control. And then eventually we try to get it on them. I'm not going to lie, 2-year-olds, I know if you have one, they're not into having stuff tied around their head. So if you, or even strapped around their ears. So you may have to get creative. Please reach out to me. I'd love to brainstorm it with you. Or if you've come up with a great strategy that you would like me to share with others, please, 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 in the comments below, let us know what you've done that's worked great, or what you've come up against that hasn't worked great. You will notice I do have paper masks. This is something that I use in my work with medical play, so that's why I have them. I was just kind of lucky to have these already. Some parts of the world have access to these pretty easily and others don't, and I'm well aware of that. So obviously this won't be an option for everyone. If you're using homemade ones or cloth ones or bandanas or whatever you're using, all of this still applies. The only thing that doesn't apply, except if you have like white cloth bandanas that you're going to make where you can have them decorate or they can draw on it, in that case you can do this, which is to decorate. So for the kids that are older, 3, 4, 5 on, I mean, even a 2-year-old could, if they were into it, could do it, but it's usually more for the 4, 5, 6, the ones that want to decorate their mask, even 7. My son decorated this mask. We haven't used it. It's just his play one to just kind of practice with. But once you use a paper mask, of course, you're going to need to throw it in the garbage. So do let them know if they're going to draw on it that they're not going to be able to keep it when you're done with it and that it's going to get thrown away. Prepare them for that, because some people get very attached to their artwork. So that's the next piece. Make it friendly. And I have a mommy one too that I wear. Although when I need to, I haven't had to wear it much except to go outside. We're now required to wear them if we're exercising in the Bolzano area now. So I haven't quite done that yet. But that's another way for you to make it friendly for, if you do have younger kids and they're kind of freaked out. I know it sounds like maybe you don't need to do all this, and maybe you won't, but it doesn't hurt to be prepared, because I can tell you from hundreds of children that I helped prepare for surgery, and the big part for young children was preparing them to see all the adults with masks and hats on, so that all they could see were their eyes. And that was actually for 2 and under, besides separation from their caregivers, that was actually one of the biggest stressors was the mask, believe it or not. So that's why I'm sharing this with you. Okay, so, and then finally, for your 7 and 8-year-old, for around 7 and 8, they really are beginning to understand the idea of contamination. And that's when you can really talk about why it's important to clean the shopping bag, the shopping cart, maybe the things. You can talk about how the bacteria or the virus got on, might have gotten on, a surface. They understand contamination at that point. So prior to the age of 6, that may be lost on them. So you just keep it, like I said, concrete, what their jobs are. You can, use the language that you have for a common cold. And then around 7, 8 and up, around 2nd or 3rd grade, they really will, they may be more curious and have more questions. And you can watch, I have another video about talking to kids and how much information to share, and what kind of coping styles they have. Some kids will have questions, but then get overloaded and get anxious when they get the answers to those questions. So I do have some advice about how to answer some of those questions and how much information to provide in another video. Please let me know if you have any questions, if you have any advice yourself, if you've been out and about with your kids during the pandemic. I would really like to know, and just know what's going on out there in the world, because I have been in my home for 4 weeks. So I'd love to know what you're doing, how you're coping, and how your kids are coping. with this, with the mask, with the hand washing, with going out and about and having things be so different. Comment below. If you want to contact me, you can do that using my email that's provided on my Facebook page, Interval Coaching. My website is www.intervallifecoach.com, and my contact information is on that as well. So please do not hesitate. I do happily spend about a half an hour with anyone with no charge, so don't worry about that. We can just chat for a half hour. And that's it. I want you all to stay well, to play well, and I'll see you next time.